So this talk is sponsored by Care First. So qi, what's qi? Qi to me is ubiquitous, it's everywhere. And qi is the electromagnetic system versus the chemical system. Now, to me, evolution is an involuntary chemical changes, and meditation is a voluntary bodily chemical changes. Now, this is written by a very famous Chinese physician in the 4th, 5th century. He said medication is the foundation of longevity, but the concomitant practice of qi, the benefit is quickly realized. Without medication, but with follow understanding and practice of qi, longevity can be extended to a few hundred years. If one understands yin and yang and master the art of developmental medicine, man lives with qi and qi within man. All living organisms need qi to live. If there's no qi, there's no baby. There's no qi, there's no plant. The expert practitioner using qi to nourish the body and qi to expel evils. Unfortunately, normal people like all of us, it is ignorance of qi and its existence. Now, in a simple way, it's called the Nernst equation. Yi, that we can explain qi in terms of the sodium and potassium pump. So the K is the ratio of the sodium and potassium inside and outside the cell. Now, what does qi does? Qi can nourish the nerves. It can cure dementia, infertility, and impotence. Boost the immune system, chronic disorders like reverse peristalsis, irritable bowel syndrome, simple neuromuscular disorders, and good health, and perhaps longevity. Now, what is qi? Qi can also relate to relaxation. Qi is aura, a lot of people call them. And the next one is Unesa. Unesa, when you see the Buddha, the head go like this, that's called the Unesa. And Feng Shui, miracles, cures, voodoo, power. Power is the little Buddha get into another people's body, and reincarnation, that's called power. And Bado is the moment of death that you go to another life. And Tao and yoga, all these are qi. Now, can somebody figure out this one? The Chinese classics, there's a horse and there's a turtle. And on this side, we call the Hotu and the Losu, okay? Everybody was telling me that the horse, because it has all those symbols on the body, that's why our Chinese Wang Di was able to defeat that Qiyou, okay? And on the other one, with the turtle, that means in the old days, Sha Yu, one of our emperors, were able to conquer the flooding in the Yellow River because due to the secret in those numbers. I said that's baloney. So what we think is that the reason is the Chinese have no three-dimensional Cartesian coordinates. So the turtle actually is reflecting our frontal plane. So that's why I put it that way. And the horse, because the horse has a spine, so it's giving us the sagittal plane, okay? So that is my explanation. So that's the other way that you're looking at. But what happened to the horizontal plane? The Chinese are very, very secret about that. The reason is that our Chinese I Ching, our Chinese Tai Shen Ji Su, the 50, the fortune telling, using the 50 numbers, they all come from horizontal plane. And it turned out the horizontal plane is not in the Chinese Qigong, but in yoga, the chakras. The chakras are in the horizontal plane. So with this, we'll be able to explain both the Chinese Tao and the yoga, okay? Now, a lot of people say, oh, I'm very good. My yin du le ma tong, okay? They're stupid because they're only talking about the skin, okay? In order to have the yin du le ma tong, it takes a long time. this I call the force or superficial microcirculation. The real one, the energy has to go through the spine. It has to go in through the 8 coccygeal foramen and up the spinal cord and go into the 3rd ventricle and come down through the vagus nerve. I have a talk with Professor Hui yesterday. He said that we are neglecting the vagus nerve. And the vagus nerve is very important in our human body. And this is called the Mao Yao Zhou Ten. When you go advanced, the energy not only able to go this way, but also can go internally in your body. And this is the correlation. If the lady knows, there's a Chinese book called the Wang Ting Jing. And if you are crazy about tantric, I don't like those pictures. But there's a correlation between the tantric yogi and the Chinese Wang Ting Jing. Now, this is my proposal, and correlate all the points or the meridians with the anatomical system. And don't look at everything, just look at the one, the singularity. That is in our coccyx, okay? And this one is Hall2. Hall2 in the center, there's a 15, 5, 5, and 5. Why? That is from our autonomic system. Okay, it's a T1, T5, T6 to T10, and T10 to L2. And you look at the autonomic system, either they're 14 or they're 15. So it correlates with our modern medicine. So they are not baloney in the old days. You know why they're good? Because they can, when they close their eye, they can see all the internal organs, they can see all the nerves, and all the arteries and organs. And that our lack or off because of modern medicine. We got spoiled. We just rely on CAT scan, MRI, and all that. And here is the Kundalini. This is the Candela Yogi. That is a Tibetan yoga. But if you look at that, the 64, okay? Why 64 down there? We have 32 pairs of nerves, including the coccyx 2. So if you go to any embryology or any books on anatomy, they say that because on the 64 is in our abdomen, and all those nerves from the thoracic region and the abdominal region, they always synapses with 32 nerves. But if you count both sides, that will be 64. That is a book of changes, the I Ching, okay? And then if you look at the heart is T1 to T4, but it comes from both sides, left and right. You add together is a Chinese bagua, okay? And this one is the Kundalini, okay? If you sum up the Kundalini, the chakra number 1 is 2. The chakra in the neck is 16. The chakra in the heart is 12. The chakra in the abdomen is 10. And the chakra in the pelvis is 6. And the chakra below is 4. You add them together, it's 50. 50 is the Chinese Da Shen they are using for fortune telling. Okay? So, I'm sorry, some of this is above some of your heads. Okay? Yeah. But this is Tantric Yoga. Okay? And this is the first, the yoga has left and right nerves and also have the central meridian. The Candela Yogi is the same as the left and the right and the center. And then the Kundalini Yoga have the same also, left and right and center. But they are in different positions, okay? So all the books, you go to Google, they all mix up. They don't know what they're talking about, okay? And this is the energy inside each of our vertebra, okay? And this is a synopsis or the summary of all the nerve in our body. The yellow one I call Susama. That is the place that you can outspace travel, our body experience. If some lady may do that, the energy can go through the fontanelle and go out. Now, I define energy into 2 kinds. One kind I call extrinsic pathway, the other kind intrinsic pathway. Most of the people can only do the intrinsic pathway. That means, sorry about my dentures. The intrinsic pathway, they only creating energy out of themselves. The extrinsic pathway, the energy will go out through the heaven, whatever, okay? Now, how come? Now, why the yoga has left and right meridian, but the Chinese meditation only have one, Yin Du. The reason is the Chinese meditation, either in the glabella or in the nasal bridge, the energy can go in only one way, into the center of the body. Whereas the yogi, they're using breathing, using both nose, okay? And they are stimulating the nasal nerves. And the nasal nerve is the only one can go to the brain. So when you smell wine, a small smell, you go to only one level. You smell deeper, you go to another level. You smell more, you go to third level. That's why you have tantric yoga, Candela yoga, and Kundalini yoga. And also make you the expert of wine tasting, okay? And that's why I call rhino-cranial pathway. They're using the nose. But there's also another pathway, I call it the coccygeal spinal pathway. You have to go through the coccygeal foramen, the 8 of them. The Chinese call Ba Liao Yue, okay? Yeah. And this to show you the different positions of the Now, this is the Chinese way why they do meditation. Because not only they want longevity, they also want to form immortal fetus or cloning. They want to reproduce into another human being so they can carry on thousands of years without dying. And this is the diagram they use. The next one is the Tao internal scene of the body. When you meditate well enough, you can see all your organs in the body. If I say it, you think I'm crazy. Yeah, but with practice, you can do it. A lot of ladies, they can do it, but it's not reproducible because they don't understand the principles. Now, here is the Chinese way. They already know from meditation all the nerve in the body. On the lower one, the pelvis, they call Ding. That means the cooking pot. You can see from the red. On the neck, they call it Fong Xing. If you know the Tao theory, that is how it's shaped like a two square put side by side. Now this is the nerve. On this side is the sympathetic system. On this side is the parasympathetic. So you can look at all the nerve that people map out in the past. Now, to me, the most important is not the normal 任督两脉. It's the thoracic splenic nerve system. Now, those are very important. This system is very interesting. It is pre-ganglionic, and it sits on top of the aorta, okay? And this will show you, this is the solar plexus or the celiac plexus. A book by Dr. Robertson in about 100 years ago, he said that this is the second brain of the body, or the third brain. You know, the brain, the central nervous system, and also plus the sympathetic or parasympathetic system. Now, this just shows you different ways of the splenic nerves. This is his picture of the celiac plexus and also the pelvic plexus. And this is to show you the sympathetic and the parasympathetic system. And this I show you is the energy flow of the human body. Both sides are the sympathetic chain. It can come from the top, or it can come from below on the red line. And this is how you look at in a three-dimensional space. And this is another way how you bring energy from the eye into the spinal cord or into the sympathetic chain and go to the spinal cord. And on this side is the celiac axis, and the other side is our transpyroric plane. And because this is very important, the Chinese believe in yin and yang. They also believe in 5 elements. The 5 elements, 1 is water, 2 is the heart, that's fire, 3 is the wood, 4th is the lung, that's metal, and the last one is earth, 2. Everything has to go back to 2. If you're looking at this picture, liver is 3, kidney is 1. Okay, they all have to go into the celiac axis in order to preserve the energy. And also in the old days, this is called the transformation of energy. We talk about energy only like energy going out. But for the Tao, there are 3 kinds of energy. One kind is gas, the other kind is liquid, and the last one is cloning. You create another person that's solid. Now, why is important at the celiac axis and L1, L2? If you're looking at the primordial germ cells during the embryogenesis, that the migration of the primordial germ cell is up from the up to the gonadal bridge from the inside. That is corresponded to our L2 at this moment. And that's why meditation at L2 or L1 will rejuvenate anybody, okay? If they're able to bring the energy into that area. And this is to show you, now this is to show you the splenic nerve. You have the greater, the lesser, and the least. And this is another projection. And the ecliptics is on the left and right on the sympathetic chain, and it goes down to here. That's what we call the Wang Dao. And this is another way of looking at it. Now, this is how they form the elixir of life. It's through this kind of meditation. They go from one center to the other. This, to us, is the celiac axis. This one, for hundreds of years, the Chinese doesn't know what it is. They call it QiDao. QiDao. You know what QiDao is? Kui is a compass. Zhong is the center, okay? Yeah. And the last one is the thing at the long, below. Now, you look at this picture. QiDao, if you're using the superior mesenteric plexus, it's here. You draw a circle around the 2 kidneys. That is your mesenteric plexus. And that's QiDao. Nobody in the last 2,000 years know where it is. But because thanks to our modern medicine, we know QiDao is over there. And the Chinese scholars still think that's still the solar axis. It is not. Now, this is very interesting. The Chinese books say, in the past, they say that there's 2 neck, K-N-A-C-K, neck, okay? That is called, in Chinese, hill. They say there's 2 in the pelvis. There's the inner one and there's the outer one. For many years, I do not understand what they say. And it's very simple. Because over in the pelvis, at S2, S3, and S4, that is the parasympathetic system. So you meditate, able to visualize at the pelvis. Your energy level will go down, your tranquility, and you have no high blood pressure, okay? And so the green is the outer neck, and the red is the inner neck. The outer neck is S2, S3, S4 from the sympathetic chain. And then this is the red one is the parasympathetic. And this is the other way looking at it in the front. And you can see here the red is the parasympathetic, and then the green is the sympathetic. Now, why L2 is important? We have many men here. I'm not trying to insult people. And the lady, you have to close your eye and your ear. You know, for men, there's called nocturnal erections at night, okay? That is not governed by the hormone, from our genital organs. What it was governed is by the L2, L3 on the top. And that's why it's so important over there, okay? Because that is the place causing our nocturnal erections, or even for ladies, for the ovulation. And you can see also very important by the picture by Netter, you can see there's a artery coming down. That is called the spermatic arteries or whatever. So there's an interrelated between L2 and the pelvis. And here, I summarized it for you. Maybe this is harder to see. This is the aorta. This is the celiac axis. And there's two ganglions, the left and the right. This is called the superior mesenteric ganglion. This is called the intermesenteric plexus, okay? So, as I told you before, the Chinese is 1 to make 2 to make 3. That's by Dao, okay? But in reverse, you have to go to 5, and 5 go to 3, and go to 1. The heart is the fire, that's 5. This is the pancreas and spleen. The Chinese cannot differentiate between the spleen and the pancreas. They act it as the same body, okay? And then this is the kidney. So if you merge the energy, the kidney is 1. The heart is 4, the lung is 4. 4 plus 1 is 5, okay? That's why it goes to this 5. And then the pancreas is 5, so it stays in the center. The heart is 2, but with the liver is 3. That's also 5. So 5, 5, 5. You can see the diagram. It goes back to 1. Go back to the pancreas. But from the pancreas, the energy will travel into the celiac plexus. From the celiac plexus, it has to go into our 2 ganglion. And there, our energy will into X, Y, Z, 3-dimensional, and 3 different kinds of qi. But then that's no good. It cannot for them to unite together to liquefy. So what they have to do is that they go from here, go down the superior mesenteric plexus. That is this one. That is yin and yang only, okay? And then from there, it can move down to intermesenteric plexus, and then the energy from the pelvis will come up. So the yin and yang will meet, and that's how they will get cloning. So this is another way of looking at it. And this is another picture that I draw. This side is the sympathetic system. This side is the sympathetic system. This side is parasympathetic. So if you look at this way, that yin mai is mostly vagus nerve. If you look at the du mai, it's mostly, I'm sorry, the other way around. So this is parasympathetic, sympathetic. So if you look at this way, this is the vagus nerve. This is the yin ma. And you look at this way, it's the du mai, or the spinal, or the sympathetic system. So this summarizes the whole thing between the Dan Ten and Du Mai, Yin Mai, and all the yogas, and Wang Ting, and so on. And I think with that, I conclude my talk. Sorry. Thank you.